Welcome to another episode of the Butler Did It. I'm your host, Adam Butler, back with another episode. Thank you so kindly for being here. So, one of my heroes in life is the one and only Michael Jeffrey Jordan. I'm not ashamed to say that. I grew up in the 90s. I was a young man in the 90s. Michael Jordan was everything. I mean, I'm not sure I need to explain this, but for the people that don't get it, like, growing up in the era where Michael Jordan was actively playing basketball made you feel like, as a young black boy, I'm sure black girls felt this way too, that you could do anything. Some of the things he was able to accomplish on the court, it felt like magic at the time. It felt like it was unreal, like he wasn't a human being. A lot of it had to do with marketing. A lot of it had to do with just his personality on, what we perceived his personality to be, all of that. And with Michael Jordan came the 1990 Chicago Bulls. And if you were like me, it didn't matter where you lived, what city, what town, unless you was in New York, you were a Chicago Bulls fan. So you rooted for Jordan, right? Rodman, Kukoc, who else? John Paxson, Bill Cartwright, Horace Grant. The list goes on and on, but the number 2 player on that team, the Robin to Jordan's Batman, was Scottie Pippen. For people in my age bracket, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan are like this. For people in my age bracket, we all understand the greatness of Michael Jordan. We all get it. We get that Michael Jordan, for people in my age, in my category, believe that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player to ever live. But we all understand and are able to separate in our minds that he couldn't have done it without Scottie Pippen. And Scottie Pippen is one of the greatest basketball players to ever live. Scottie Pippen's defensive skills, his passing skills, his court vision, his scoring, Scottie Pippen is second to none. We all understand that Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen needed each other. No matter how great Michael Jordan was, we love and respect Scottie Pippen. We grew up watching them. We grew up understanding that nothing was cooler than the Chicago Bulls. Nothing. I adore my football team, the now Washington Commanders. Okay. I never got cool moments like I did from being a Chicago Bulls fan in the 90s, watching Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. I knew Scottie needed Mike and Mike needed Scottie. But I understood the difference between the two of them, and that was okay. Why am I bringing this up? Because if you pay attention to sports, if you pay attention to what's going on in sports for the past 3 years now, you understand that there's been a rift between Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. Mostly on Scottie's side in terms of being vocal about it. Scottie Pippen, since 2020, has not had nice things to say about Michael Jordan at all. Michael Jordan has stayed quiet. However, people that know him, people that have the luxury of speaking to Michael Jordan, are reporting that Michael Jordan is not happy with Scottie Pippen as well. There's also other ugly things going on. Michael Jordan's son dating Scottie Pippen's kid's mom. Ugly stuff. This stems from the Last Dance documentary. To me, it's a huge misunderstanding as a person who watched the Chicago Bulls, who worshiped the Chicago Bulls, who loved Michael Jordan and loved Scottie Pippen. Okay? And understood everything that was going on at that time. I think it's a huge misunderstanding. So I'm going to walk you through this beef that Scottie and Mike has, and then I want to talk about our love for drama. Our love as a society for drama and why I think it's damaging, okay? Right after this. Listen, have you smelled your hair today? Does your hair smell like outside? You need to go get Lock Juice and spray your braids or your locks, afro, or even your beard. Lock Juice is a natural hair freshener made with rose water and essential oils. Perfect for adding moisture and shine. Lock Juice has 12 scents available for all hair types, including herbal, sweet, and earthy scents. Right now you can go to getlockjuice.com. That's getlockjuice.com today and get 25% off while supplies last. Okay, so take yourself back to 2020, March 2020 or April 2020, right in the beginning of the pandemic. We don't even know what this thing is at the time. We still calling it coronavirus. We don't know what's going on. People on lockdown. People starting to die, unfortunately, getting very sick. There's no vaccine. We don't even know to put on masks just yet. Everything's brand new. All we know is that none of us are going to work. There's no sports on television. All right. And that we need to stay in the house. We're still Lysol and packages, wiping stuff down. Uber Eats and DoorDash won't even knock on the door anymore. It's a totally different time. Wasn't that long ago, but it's a totally different time. No sports. Nothing to entertain ourselves. No live television, no nothing. Then all of a sudden, this documentary comes around, this docu-series called The Last Dance. And somehow, some way, they had been working on a documentary series since the 1990s, since 1998, the last year of the Chicago Bulls as we knew them, the Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman, Steve Kerr, Ron Harper, Phil Jackson, Chicago Bulls. There was a camera crew following them around, and just in the nick of time, the film is done to premiere in the first month of the pandemic. Our eyes was glued. We were glued on that and Tiger King, okay? We were locked in, okay? Nothing was better. It was nothing better on television. It was thrilling television. You were getting behind the scenes of the Chicago Bull dynasty. You were learning everything from 1991 to 1998. And not only did we learn a lot about Michael Jordan himself, we learned a lot about every player that was a primary player on that squad, including Scottie Pippen. Here's what Mike had to say about Scottie Pippen in The Last Dance.
Whenever they speak Michael Jordan, they should speak Scottie Pippen. Pippen became my focal point.
More than any other player, Scottie benefited from playing with Michael Jordan because Scottie had this raw athletic ability. What he didn't have was what Michael brought every day.
The thing about Pip is, if you stand next to him, you make him stronger. All the Detroit times when Rodman wanted to pick on him, he needed someone there to stand there and say, hey, look, I'll fight with you, just fight. I would never be able to find a tandem, another support system, another partner in the game of basketball like Scottie Pippen. He was a pleasure to play with. When everybody says, well, I went to all these championships, but I didn't win without Scottie Pippen. And, that's why I consider him my best teammate of all time.
Greatest teammate ever. Couldn't have done it without him. That's Mike's words, okay? I need you to understand that's what Michael Jordan started off the documentary saying about Scottie Pippen. Now, Scottie's a great player, but Scottie had some drama in his career. Pretty much went through a contract debate his entire career, sat out at times, was temperamental, not like a fighter or nothing like that, but was temperamental. Definitely would not go into games for different situations. He had a migraine, wouldn't go in the game. A lot of Chicago Bulls fans were upset about that. Famously would not go back in the game to participate in the game-winning shot because the play was not called for him. Tony Kukoc famously hit that shot. We all know what happened. Okay. So from there, Scottie Pippen, I think, took major offense to Michael Jordan comment on his contract, saying he was pissed off at the time and essentially feeling like Michael Jordan didn't appreciate his position on the team, his importance to the team. From there, Scottie Pippen has been pretty much on a rampage. Whenever you bring up Michael Jordan to him, and we're talking about 2 years now, pretty much 3 years of Scottie being asked about Mike and essentially trashing Mike. From simple stuff like who's a better player, before he used to pick, Jordan, now it's LeBron, hands down to him, to calling out the man's character, calling out Phil Jackson's character, but mainly calling out Mike's character. So here's the latest thing that Scottie said about Mike.
LeBron will be the greatest statistical guy to ever play the game of basketball. And there's no comparison to him. None. So, does that make him the greatest player to ever play the game? I'll leave that out for debating, because I don't believe that there's a great player, because our game is a team game, and one player can't do it. Like, I seen Michael Jordan play before I came to play with the Bulls. You guys seen him play. He's a horrible player. He was horrible to play with. He was all one-on-one. He's shooting bad shots. And all of a sudden, we become a team and we start winning. Everybody forgot who he was.
Okay, so clearly a thing that gave all of us so much joy, this behind-the-scenes look of the Chicago Bulls, the fights at practice, the drama, what's going on with Scottie's contract, what happened with Mike, what happened with his father, what happened with the gambling, right? The lack of political involvement. All of this stuff is in the documentary. We talk about Steve Kerr's dad, talk about Horace Grant, and the perception of him by other teams. There's a lot of dirt, but not like toxic, nasty stuff, just behind the scenes look. But clearly this hurt Scottie Pippen. Clearly this hurt Scottie Pippen. Now here's the truth. As a Bulls fan, as a basketball fan, as a person who's been watching basketball all of his life, who had a dad who's been watching basketball, who has a dad who's been watching basketball all his life, I remember Scottie Pippen. I remember when Scottie didn't go in that game. I remember that. When Scottie wouldn't take that shot and how upset I was. As a kid, I was a child. I remember when the Bulls lost that series, I believe to the New York Knicks. I want to say it was the New York Knicks. And me feeling that disappointment of failure from my sports team for the first time. I was a kid. I was like about 13 years old, maybe. 12 or 13 years old. As a kid, I remember that. I remember my dad talking about the migraine game. That boy wouldn't go in the game because he had a migraine, because he had a headache. That's something Michael Jordan actually said in the documentary, that, hey, man, the man had a headache. But I remember that game. I remember when Scottie sat out most of the season in 98. I remember that. These things are true. No lies were told. Scottie's in the documentary talking about this stuff. But the pain of the idea of his reputation being damaged, of his pride, is too much for Scottie. Scottie Pippen has been taking blow after blow after blow. Not necessarily by Jordan, but just by the truth. We live in an era where reality TV is number one. There's a writer's strike going on right now. And I believe the studios aren't really tripping, because they know that they can populate their streaming services and their networks with reality shows, and people will watch them. Before I started recording this, there was a clip of Jocelyn from whatever Love and Hip Hop and Amber Rose fighting so viciously that BT wouldn't even show the footage. Last night, my wife and I watched the third part of a 3-part series of a reunion for Vanderpump Rules. All because one cast member cheated on his girlfriend, who is a cast member, with another girl who happens to be that girl's best friend, who is also a cast member, who also used to be the ex-fiance of another cast member. I watched these people cuss each other out for 3 days. 3 weeks if you want to talk about the length of time it took to watch all 3. Because you had to wait 1 week and then another week and then another week. Literally nanny boo-boo each other. And then right after that, they had exclusive footage from the Mistress jump. Then right after that, they premiered, hey y'all, we got more footage from this season of Vanderpump Rules and the Scandal cheating saga. Why am I bringing this up? What does this have to do with Scottie Pippen? Well, sports entered into the realm of reality TV. Reality TV infiltrated sports, and now the athletes that we grew up viewing as heroes and titans, now we're seeing chinks in their armor. That's not only a lot for them, it's a lot for us. I think that's why the reaction around all the stuff with MJ and Scottie and the kid dating the baby mom, wife, whatever, is just harsh and hard. And the overall public reaction to it has been sadness, at least from the sports community. It's sad to see these titans of American history, American sports history, 2 of the greatest ever, to play on the greatest team ever, one of the greatest dynasties ever, the only 2 players to be there for all 6, to see them as old men, 60-year-old men, 60, well, one of them's almost 60 and the other one is in his 60s. To see them this way is heartbreaking. So the question is, and it's more of a question I'll leave you all with, is why is the drama so attractive? We're all sad by the Scottie story, but here I am talking about it. It's on every network. People feel the need to bust out Scottie even more, to remind people about this, remind people about that. We're finding out things that Jordan is thinking. Jordan has never said anything publicly about any of this. Why do I know what Jordan thinks about this? Because the media talked about it. Because the media let us know. Same way I know about who cheated on who on Vanderpump. It's no different. That drama fuels the world. The truth is, whether we are sports fans or reality TV fans, they're the same thing. Sports is the ultimate reality TV. It gives us everything we want. Everything you need from reality TV, sports gives you. And sports has done nothing but evolve over the decades. Yeah, in the beginning it was about on the court, on the field, but you still had newspaper reporters that wanted to know everything that Babe Ruth had going on, or Ty Cobb, or Dr. J, or, whoever in between. Then you had sports television, ESPN, Bob Costas, whatever. Now you have 24/7 sports television. There ain't enough sports to fill up a 24/7 news feed. And then beyond 24/7 news feeds, you have Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Somewhere there needs to be something more than just stats and scoreboards. So a man like Scottie Pippen, who's hurt for a number of reasons, beyond Michael Jordan, who's clearly going through things in his life, is constantly given a platform to get his off, to get his shit off. I'll say it. And I'm not saying that the person behind each platform is wrong. I'm saying that it's the nature of the beast. And we all have to be careful about it. People want that drama. They want to see Jocelyn fight Amber Rose. They want to see what happened with Sandoval and whoever. It's just the world we live in. So when you find out that two of the greatest players of all time have beef and it's got everything involved in it, scandal, it's what people want. Even from two of the greatest basketball players of all time, two American icons. It's sad to see. It breaks my heart. As that young kid who sat around and watched these two dudes through my formative years create magic, put smiles on faces. Those days are way behind us now. Our need for drama, our need for gossip, our need for scandal always prevails. I don't mean to be somber. I don't mean to be negative here. I'm just learning a lesson. I know it's sad that Scottie and Mike have this beef, and this documentary came out years ago and this hasn't died off since. And a big part of me wants to tell Scottie Pippen to just get over it. I will actually say that. I will say that Scottie Pippen, as a fan of yours, you are great. We're able to separate Michael Jordan and you. We've always been able to do it. You don't need to diminish him. And whatever's going on personally, that sucks. But you don't need to do it. You are better than that. I want to say that to Scottie. And I'm not the first to say it. Plenty of people have said it. Bigger than me, closer to Scottie Pippen than me. So I don't know. But I know as an audience, our love for this and our need for this, whether again be Scottie Pippen or this reality show or that reality show or this news story or that news story, I don't know. It just feels like it's something it's like a lifeblood for us. I'll end with this. My wife asked me last night, we were watching that Vanderpump Rules reunion thing. And again, it was nasty. It was some of the meanest shit I've ever watched. As we're watching it, my wife turned to me and said, would this be considered trauma porn? And I had to think about that because for me, trauma porn is, watching the video of some cops shooting a black kid or watching like a mass shooting or fire or, you know what I mean? And when the news just keeps it on repeat for ratings, I thought, well, that's trauma porn. But then I thought about it for real. And it's no judgment to Andy Cohen or anybody over at Bravo or anything. And it's not judgment to ESPN and FS1 and whoever. It's not. I actually have a relationship with FS1 and Fox Sports. I worked with them. So it's not a knock because you're just doing what you're doing. You're giving the people what they want. But the answer is yes, it is trauma porn. To watch a bunch of people, reality show stars or not, crying on stage. Some of them so hurt that they're resorting to just name calling. And I'm talking literally like mocking and nana boo boo. And when someone starts talking, just shut the fuck up. Like just soon as they start talking. Watching a man, whether he's a bad guy or not, just break down crying constantly. Watching a woman who's been cheated on and hurt, just break down crying constantly. For 3 episodes and news specials around it. That is trauma porn. Watching Scottie Pippen, who was clearly hurt, constantly talk about Michael Jordan. Angrier and angrier each time. Unhinged almost. And just constantly analyzing it. I'm doing it right now. It is trauma porn. And trauma porn is American as apple pie. So let's all think about that. Can we get better? Do we need this? Or is it just what it is? Hit me up. Let me know. Okay, so there seemed to have been some confusion from an announcement I made the other day. By the way, August is in here with me. There seemed to have been some confusion from an announcement I made the other day. I announced that my show on Fox Sports, Up on Game, and iHeartRadio, the What Are Those podcast, was coming to an end after next week's episode. It shows me that I got some things to work on in terms of my branding, which is why this move is going to be a good one for me. Because there's some brand confusion, because people thought I was like quitting podcasting. That is not the case. This show is here to stay. I mean, look at me. I'm in here right now recording. I got a new studio. Y'all can't tell. This is a new studio space. Some of the same props, but I'm building a new studio. I'm in here recording with my daughter on the couch over here. I'm not quitting. Okay? I'm not quitting. However, it was time to sunset the What Are Those show. The What Are Those show had run its course. Now, I talk about that on the last episode of What Are Those over on Up on Game Network. Go to Up on Game Network. You can check that out. I go into great length as to why that show needed to end and why I was proud to be a part of that show. But this show is the bread and butter. This is the brand. And I think it's going to be good to just have this show, and not the confusion of the What Are Those podcast. Now, that's not why the What Are Those podcast was a business decision on both ends in terms of Up on Game and myself. It's not just because I grew tired one day. It's because it ran its course. It just was time for it to be sunset. You know, it's just business. It is what it is. But there are some cool things happening with this show that I'm not going to announce yet. Okay, I'm not going to announce yet. I will announce a few changes that we're making. Well, I'm making with this show. There will be a couple of more segments added to the show. One of them that I can announce right now that will start next week is the Sneaker of the Week, because I don't have a sneaker show anymore. So now I can showcase my Sneaker of the Week on this show. I'm also going to have more guests. So the show will probably in a couple weeks go to an hour long as opposed to 30 minutes long, or at least 45 minutes long as opposed to 30, okay? Or around 30-ish. Things are happening. I'm not stopping. I'm in this to the end. This is what I do. I podcast. The Butler Did It is a brand that I've been trying to get right for some time. And I think I finally got a good handle on what to do. And there's some really exciting, I really wish I could tell you right now, but I've been working on putting the cart before the horse, okay? So there's some really exciting things happening with this show. You see, we have sponsors already. It's so dope. Shout out to Halo, man. Shout out to Lock Juice. Man, we got dope things going on. And I got another sponsor to bring on next week. So we rocking and we rolling, man. We rocking and we rolling. And it ain't stopping. So I appreciate the kind words from everybody. And I appreciate everybody that was into the What Are Those podcasts. I would say that if you were into the What Are Those podcasts, come on over here. My daughter's over there playing with my little Washington Commanders flag. It's kind of cute. Come on over here, man. We doing dope things. I appreciate everybody. Thank you to everybody. One more thing I want to say before we wrap up. If you're listening to this show today on Thursday, when I record this show, okay, now some people won't listen to it on Thursday. Some people, by the time you start listening to this episode, this won't even be news anymore. But right now, as it stands, there's smoke all over the city. It's crazy. I'm in Washington, D.C. If you're in New York, if you're in Baltimore, if you up, the East Coast, pretty much, you're dealing with smoke, toxic air. It's bad. It's bad outside. It's bad, man. Take care of yourself, man. Be careful. Put on them KN95 masks. Those things we had to wear during COVID. I know you got a couple of them sitting in the drawer somewhere. You can probably go to your local library and pick up one. Just pick up one. It's not great outside. And listen, I'm a guy that likes to go outside a lot. I like to go for jogs and walks and things like that. I haven't been outside all day. So if I haven't been outside, you probably don't need to do it either, okay? Take care of yourselves. Take care of your bodies. Hopefully by the weekend, especially in New York City, man, it look like Mad Max up there or something. Look like a Dust Bowl up there, John. Look like Blade Runner. It's crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy what's going on. And it just makes me think about the environment and all these things that people get bored with. But we got to be more careful, man. All this from a forest fire in Canada. And I'm in D.C. and it's smoke. Literally, you can smell the smoke. You can smell the fire in Washington, D.C. This is bizarre. Be careful. Be careful, man. That's all I can say. Be careful out here, all right? So, yeah, the Butler Did It podcast isn't going anywhere. I'm going to try to figure out a way to ramp up the content throughout the week. That is difficult. I got baby August in here. We got things to do. Makai's in here. We got other priorities, but I'm going to try to figure that piece out as well. And let me know what you think about this whole Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan thing. And just the angle I tried to approach it with. Why do we love drama so much? Hit me up and let me know in the comment section, okay? Remember to subscribe to this show. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Apple. Oh, that's one more thing I want to say. Shouts out to Shakes for hipping me to something I didn't know, that the podcast for the last few weeks had not gone up on Apple. So the last 2 episodes are on Apple. You'll see them throughout the day along with this episode. You'll have 3 episodes to check out on the podcast stream if you haven't had the opportunity. And I do apologize about that. That's up. So subscribe on all podcasting platforms. The podcast should be up now. As always, subscribe on YouTube. Like on YouTube, cut the bell on YouTube so you can get notifications, comment on the podcasting platforms. All of this helps. All this helps get the numbers up. The numbers are what they are right now, but we're going to get them up, man. I appreciate all of y'all that always pay attention, especially the reels and all that, man. The reels do great. So anyhow, man, wrapping this one up. Thank you so much. Listen, I want you all to know how hard I worked on this one because I had to, well, I don't want to give away the magic. I had to stop a couple of times because my baby girl wanted some attention today, man. So she's going to get it in a few minutes. I'm about to wrap this up. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all that you do. Seriously, thank you. We rocking and rolling. The Butler Did It ain't going nowhere. Take care of your mental health. Mind your mental health. Super duper important. Mind your mental health, okay? Mind your physical health, especially this weekend with all the smoke and everything in the air. If you're on the East Coast, please mind your physical health, okay? And never, ever forget. And please continue to be great. We're up out of here. Peace.